Big Cove YMCA Camp is an historic wilderness camp dedicated to providing youth with opportunities to develop leadership skills, enhance their self-esteem, and foster an appreciation of the natural environment in a safe, respectful community. In 1889, YMCA leader Fraser Marshall brought the first group of campers to the site, which became known as Big Cove. Big Cove is the oldest residential camp for boys and girls in Canada. From the turn of the century to the early 40s, campers were coming in from Halifax and other areas of the province by train. Big Cove YMCA Camp is actually a Nova Scotia provincial historic site located on the Miragamish Harbour. It's 100 acres on a peninsula and nearly entirely surrounded by water. A lovely mix of woodland, salt marsh, fields, and various types of forest. We use all of this area for our programming, whether it's camping, whether it's where our meals are, dining hall, and our central camp area, or our waterfront where we do our boating and swimming. The Miragamish Harbour is actually on the Northumberland Strait, which is the body of water that lies between Nova Scotia and PEI. And this water is some of the warmest waters north of North Carolina. At Big Cove YMCA Camp, we offer a wide range of programs. Our campers range between 7 and 17 years of age for boys and girls. Most campers stay at camp for a period of 1 week or 2 weeks. There's a junior section for younger children. There's a senior section for the older campers. And then we have our leadership section. They stay for 1 month periods of time, and they're for the oldest campers that are actually working towards becoming young leaders themselves. Then within our staff team, we have a junior counselor program, and then our staff, which is comprised of counselors and senior staff. And recently introduced, we have Little Big Cove. This is a program for the very youngest of campers. It can also be seen as an introduction program. It's for campers between the age of 6 and 11, and it's a shorter stay, only 3 nights. We have a lot of different places in our facility. It's an outdoor campus, so really to get from one place to another, you're always going outside. We have 13 cabins. Each cabin holds 8 campers and 2 counselors. We have a wash house, which has 8 showers for the girls and 8 showers for the boys. There's our main lodge or pavilion. That's where we eat all of our meals. That's also our oldest and most historic building. It was built in 1930. And to this day, you can go in and see a lot of the evidence from that early period, whether it's some names that are chiseled into the wall or some old posters from that era. The Arts and Crafts Hall is also one of our facilities. It's a large indoor area, and you can see a lot of history in that building as well. We have a number of newer buildings on site as well. The senior staff stay in what's known as Ursa Major, which is a new staff accommodation that was built quite recently. And our health center is quite new as well, completed in 2009. It allows us, even though we are a rustic camp, to provide quality health care in a modern and clean environment. We have a high ropes course and a zip line. We are constantly improving and adding new adventurous elements to these courses. We also have our archery range, which is a popular activity. Canoeing and kayaking are things that can be often seen being participated in the Cove on a day-to-day basis. Canoeing as well is a very integral part of our program. All of the campers have an opportunity to go canoeing, and most actually go on canoeing trips where they take their gear and they go canoe to a site and camp overnight. O-trips are a very central part of our program. The reason is there are many important things that happen every day on camp at Big Cove involving all of the campers. But there's something special that happens when a group of 8 to 10 campers and their counselors venture out on their own for a 1-night, 2-night, 3-night trip into the wild. The youngest campers go on a 1-night out trip, usually somewhere on our property. The more senior campers do longer trips, some camping on beaches and other areas within the harbor. And our leadership participants venture out on 12-day canoe trips. The Leadership 1 campers go from Cape George to Port Hood, Cape Breton. And the Leadership 2 campers actually paddled from camp to Caribou Ferry, portage onto the ferry, and then travel by canoe along the coast of PEI. These experiences not only give them the experience in the outdoors of doing the trip, but they force these groups to become very reliant upon each other and force them to look at the strengths that each has to offer to the group. Everybody by the end of their trip knows who has the best ability to cook a meal, who is the strongest in the stern, and who can build a really good shelter. Big Cove and camp in general is a place for children to grow in an environment that they don't normally get in their everyday lives. Kids that are engaged in their environment and with each other are not homesick kids. They're having a good time and they're learning more about themselves. These young people are being led by other young people that are just a bit older, that is, their camp counselors. And they don't get that type of experience, that same sort of experience and connection with another leader when those leaders are their parents or their teachers. There's also a very strong community within the camp environment. They're living in reasonably tight quarters in groups of 8 to 10, and they're learning how to cope with and understand that different people have different needs. All campers that come to Big Cove have an opportunity to build their self-confidence. A lot of the parents that come and talk to me after their campers experience sometimes don't recognize their children because they're so outgoing after having this type of experience. The YMCA is a charity dedicated to the growth of all persons in spirit, mind, and body, and to their sense of responsibility to each other and the global community. This mission, I feel, is being played out every day at Big Cove YMCA camp, as we're encouraging the growth and development of individuals and the growth and development of their communities. A lot of the goal of the Big Cove is actually not only to enrich the children themselves, but for them to take their experiences from camp and go back and enrich their families and their communities that they're in as well. I know, having been the general manager for just 6 years, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of campers that I first saw in the 1990s that are now leaders 20 years later in their communities and making contributions back to them. One of the driving values of the YMCA and Big Cove YMCA camp is that there are no children that are turned away because of their economic circumstance. And that's why we have something called a Campership Program, in which we can fund up to 50% of any camper that would like to come and attend Big Cove. In addition to that, we try to help families find the additional funding that they need if 50% is too much as well. People who understand the benefits of residential camping and sending their children away for a period of time to grow and develop outside of the nest understand the importance of this kind of experience. And I find the reason that campers keep coming back is because after the first year or so, it's not really the parents' choice anymore. The campers have the experience that they can't describe, and it's the experience that lasts a lifetime. They're going to keep coming back as long as their parents keep sending them. The environment and the structure of a program that is kids leading kids, that is in an outdoor setting where kids play. They play and they learn by playing. it can't be beat.